Welcome to the third webinar organized by the Commission. As you know, the webinar series bears the title, What a Puppet Can Do, Applied Puppetry in Theory and Practice. And you have heard now that the webinar is being recorded, so all webinars are recorded. And the webinars are held once every 2 months. So that was all from me. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Andrea Markovits.
Hi, Livia. Okay. First, thank you very much for your invitation to me to this webinar, and also to all the Commission and Emmanuel. Bueno, today I talk about objects, puppets, memory in my practice and some theoretical aspects. I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation now. I will going to show some videos, a couple of videos, and one of them is really, for me and for my student, really deep and touching. We talk about different things of human rights, and I consider it's a very important point or video to talk about puppets, testimony, memory, and post-memory. I'm gonna leave approx 10 minutes before I finish my presentation and for questions or comments of the audience, okay? Okay, I start. 1 second, I share my PPT. 1 second. Okay. Okay. I hope you can see. Yes? Okay, let's start. The name of my presentation for today is Therapeutic Animated Forms from Personal to Collective Memory. I am director of Puppet Therapy School Barcelona. This presentation, it's really eclectic. I hope you enjoy this presentation. But why I say it's eclectic, because my studies are different. I have studied theater, drama therapy, photography, drama therapy, puppet theater and objects, and my last study is master in art therapy and health. And about this, the focus is eclectic and it's really flexible to understand the new puppet therapy contemporary, and in a way of therapeutic animated form. When we speak with my team and with my practice therapeutic animated form, we don't speak only about puppets, like cosification, like puppets, like object, no, like an object. If not, we speak about materials, objects, and puppets. That is more amplification to idea of puppet therapy. I like to open with that's beautiful words about Justo Pastor Mellado, critical from Chile, because it's really introducing the idea of memory, to say memory is a river inhabited but elusive fish. It took a lot like Paul Klee painting. Sometimes memory leap out of the water and reveal their curved silverback, but on the other time we need to catch them. The objects are hooks for fishing memory. They are memory alarm clocks. That idea introduced about our practice in puppet memory and human rights, because for me, in my methodology, the objects are activation memory. It's the most, at this moment, for me, tools to work with memories. Puppet Therapy and Muñeco Therapy Chile, it's a program to investigation and practical, and we work with different lines. One is a training puppet therapy course. We have course online and in person. We have a company with creation, with puppet company, Puppet in Transit. We have a line on investigation with puppet memory, is what I shared today. And in other way, we have an investigation in disability. And we have a line to puppet applicate with workshop with different community. That is different object, how we start to work. It's a really evolution, how we start to work with first puppet are very, very expressive. You can see in other slides. And now we work in more neutral mask. That is different training around the world. This is in Chonchon, Puppet Festival Chonchon, in time during the before pandemic and 2022. And puppet therapy is developed in 4 areas. Puppet and memory, again, is what I shared today. Violation of children's rights, and mental health and creative therapy. And the last, intellectual diversity. And I introduce a beautiful concept of Corina Duin. It's a puppeteer from Ireland, and she speaks about disability. But today, I don't speak about disability. I put my focus in puppets and memory. Sometimes my students ask about how we can relation what is a family of puppet therapy with other methodology discipline. We can relation or can speak puppet therapy. These are very little flower to understand. It's like flower of loto. Very, very brief to understand the most basic relation what have puppet therapy. The first, of course, it's puppet theater and puppet object. It's like art therapy speak with contemporary art, drama therapy with the idea of expression. Art therapy, because for me it's the first part. When we work with objective therapeutic, you need pass in the way of art therapy. When we construction a puppet, it's really different when we work with a therapeutic objective when we work in puppet theater. Then we have a lot of relation with different theoretical of the object and play therapy. That is a really interesting discussion with people or colleagues when they are professional training in play therapy, because we have some similar dialogues. It's because puppets sometimes, not all the time, are little. Okay, I have an object here. Yes, you can see. Yes, because I am blur. A very little object, and can I control this object? Okay, it's not the same methodology like play therapy, but it's near the same dialogue. Okay, fundamental, technical, and theoretical. And that is an open question to understand how this model born. Okay, sometimes model of technical work with a therapeutic skill in creative or psychotherapy traditional work in a investigation, different investigation. Yes, that particular model was born in a puppet theater. Yes, about this you can see in this presentation a lot of expressive imagery. Very rare. It's like a super expressive puppet, no? And that is a travel from the experimental theater to puppet therapy. I take that word in the idea of Augusto Boal in a book, The Experimental Theater to Therapy. I speak from the experimental puppet theater to puppet therapy. And the idea to work puppet therapy memory, don't born in a community. That's an idea born in a play. Yes, in a play Concert for Peace. It's a play of puppet therapy. It's like play about tolerance, human rights. And that's play, Concert for Peace, that's a lot to my audience. It was really, really interesting. It's a play, silence play, in silence, not word. And people say all the time when they are audience in this performance, they feel like the puppet share her story. It's really, really empathy with this material. They enter in a deep of a material and they feel this object share her story. And that's, we start to reflection with my team. We have a witness. Who is the witness? The puppets, because puppets share what happened then. And sometimes people, when they are victims, they need a witness. This is very important in theoretical of post-trauma. And okay, that's some imagine about the play Concert for Peace. Here we can find different imagine of tolerance, dictatorship around the world. And this model of therapeutic start to create again in a play. And that's a lot to me what the testimony of people say, and we start to open workshop of puppet therapy. Yes. But when in this process, we start to investigation, okay, how to work with puppet therapy with community who have a lot of violent experience now with context of dictatorship, violence, people have missing familiar. It's a really, really deep area, gray area. And we understand we have a travel of idea, okay, of different concept, of different theoretical. I start to create my investigation with that's different author. Now we stop here. Sorry, that is in Spanish. But I start with Fraser, the idea of magical object ritual. I continue with the idea of Levi Moreno, the theory of therapies in action, because puppets is a theory, it's a action theory therapy. It's not a quiet therapy, okay? It's a movement. Then we continue, of course, we pass with object transitional of Winnicott. Then we concept more theatral with Rojas Bermudez. I speak in other slides about Rojas Bermudez. I continue with transformational object with Christopher Bolas. Then I continue with Markovits with object portable, and I finish with my concept of object contemporary therapeutic. This line, of course, have a lot of more author. It's only brief idea line of time how we can stop in different moment and historic to understand how people understand the object in a therapeutic context. Here is very, very important name in my practice is Bermudez. Maybe you know about Rojas Bermudez is a psychiatrist who worked in Argentina in years 17, 16 in different hospital psychiatric. But the most what people found in Rojas Bermudez is the idea of transitional objects, because it's more security work with an object than a face of a human. But I found other aspects for me is really important. About this, I start to speak about animated form. Because in one moment in her practice, Rojas Bermudez with the puppeteer Ariel Bufano from Argentina, they are in a practical clinical in psychodrama. And in one moment, the patients lost attention, put attention in other focus. Here are puppets, and the puppet Maria, like you can see in the photograph, and put the attention in other focus. And in one moment, somebody move a fabric. And again, the patient put attention in a focus. In this moment, they understand it's not only an object. It's not a cosification like an object. It's more than an object. And here, for me, that's my personal impression. For me, that starts the idea of the new puppet therapy, the new contemporary puppet therapy, because we can understand it's not only construction of puppet, like people understand puppet with heads, 2 hands, 2 legs. It's not a form in movement. And when people understand that is alive, they are in contact, okay? Because something is out of me, is a movement, and I connect with this object. For me, that is the most revolutionary idea of Rojas Bermudez. In the first slice, you can see the focus, of course, in a puppet and not in a puppeteer. In here, you can see this yellow slice, this yellow line. And in the second slice, you can see, again, the focus in a puppet. That is me in black. The focus is in a puppet. That is interview in Pequeño Cotolengo. It's Foundation International, but it was in Chile. And again, it's not me, it's a puppet. It's really beautiful because sometimes Susan Lin say, it's not me, it's a puppet. When children say, can I speak with this object? Because it's not me, it's a puppet. But again, it's here, the same idea. It's not me, like a puppeteer or like a therapeutic, it's a puppet, okay? About this, for me, is really important in a therapeutic process. The therapeutic of people who work with objects, they need to know how to give a life, because the movement in the general of case is more important than the imagine or aesthetic of a puppet. Okay, that is other different imagine in Chile. in different places. That is a really beautiful experience. That woman was in the floor. We are in a performance, and in one moment she started to say when people call cats, and in this moment we walk with a puppet. And sometimes people ask to me if I reflection if she thinking she's a cat, and I say for me it's not a question. For me the objective in this moment was she connect with an object, and she connected with an object. Okay. This is other practical in different hospital in Chile. It's part of the practical of my team. This is the Hospital Roberto del Rio. This is the first time when introduced the practice with puppet in an hospital. Was really, really interesting. Again, it's the idea how puppet can help to understand the body of the others. This is really interesting for me. That's what's practical in CEST Hospital with children of serious work. It's the moment when I understand how to use the silence. Other question to my students sometimes, why in silence, Andrea, the methodology? I say it's not only silence, because sometimes people like to speak with her puppets, but I recommend work with silence. When you have, for example, cultural difference between language or people with disability and they can speak, for example, it's difficult to understand, the silence is some point that is more technical. And in other way, your concentration is more in your voice, it's in an object, it's a movement in object. Because summary of the idea of puppet is put your psychic in movements. Levi Moreno, who definitions psychodrama, who say psychodrama, it's a psychic movement. For me, I touch this idea with a lot of respect, and I say puppet is a psychic movement. People put a psychic movement. About this, I think it's more close, more dramatic when we work without work. Of course, if people need speech or need automatopeia or need sound, it's free, it's welcome. But when you are in silence, the connection is more deep, it's more near. That is about the idea of how we start to work in silence, because I don't work with translator. This is the first technical, then we understand more the deep therapeutic to work in silence. And other important author, how of course, it's a lot of author. I speak about Bermudez, it's not only Bermudez, but about my time. I like to share what, in the same way, the most inspired to me. Here, it's on a practical of Deborah Kalmanovitz, it's art therapeutic. For me, she have a very, very interesting and revolutionary practical in art therapy. And maybe you ask what I speak about art therapy, that is puppet therapy. Yes, have a lot of connection. She have a practical with children in a refugee camp in Bosnia. And she started a practice with the children to painting. They start to painting. And of course, what start to painting the children, explosion with bombs, house, and they paint. And in what moment, with her colleague, Lloyd, they feel they don't are in calm, they are anxiety, okay? And they start to work with the children, with group of children around the camp. And the children start to find object, okay? And this object, what they start to construction, I can listen to you when you are here, but I answer. House, they start to building house. Here you can see the children when they start to building house. This is part really important, what you need to understand in the setting, in the idea of the new puppet therapy, material, object, and puppets, okay? It's our language, what you have. It's a vocabulary. We amplify your vocabulary to work with other. You have more tools. It's not only a puppet. I think that is really revelates, open a lot of reflection about this experience, about what is the most important interview with group. If people need only, for example, dance therapy, only music or art therapy, what they need. In this case, the children need movement, the children need fun, the children need play, the children need touch again. It's a really interesting experience, sensorial, because they start to touch, yes, kinesthetic, sensorial, etc. Second level, they start to form, okay, that is a kitchen broken, but it's like maybe my kitchen, yes, it's a kitchen, and they construction with different material part of house. Okay, now second level, perceptual, I have a kitchen. And now the most high level, that is like my house, no? We can movement in different level when we work with objects. And my recommend is not static in a movement, okay? I recommend that's name, Deborah Kalmanovitz. Other name important, Christopher Dvola, psychoanalyst, who speak about fun objects because mindful through the attention we give them and the relationship we create with them, often transforming them into something else. It's what we can see here, the last image, how we can transform this object. And it's not only transform, it's transform my idea of myself. It's my perception is changed when I change my object, my idea. Okay, we conceive puppet therapy as a methodology that integrates the expressive dramatic dimension and the plastic dimension of core in art therapy in the field of complementary therapy. And we understanding puppet therapy as art action therapy, an idea conceived by the Roman psychodramatist Primo Levi. I introduce about this concept, yes? Action therapy. Okay, that's model we create to work again. I connect again with the idea of Chile with a project of puppet therapy and human rights. We create a model to work, but we don't have only a model. We have first I construction a model. I need to know what is my context when I was my interview puppet therapy, art therapy, who is the community, who is the group, and this particular community have a really critical context. One is continuous traumatic effects, homelessness, denial is born, this is around the world, impunity and last justice, lack of truth. That is model, of course, we can applicate different parts, not only in Chile post-dictatorship, yes? What we can create with this context, only compensatory action. People are not a car, it's not a compensatory, it's not states alive, it's only compensatory action. It's not reparate like a car, it's compensatory action. Okay, we start different workshop in Chile, that is in the Museum of Memory in Chile. Sometimes, all the time, I love to open with a performance before I start to work in a group. When I work, this is my presentation today, the focus is in group, more in one by one. Because the idea is give security to the group. The idea is say to the group, I believe in what you are happening to you. It's really important, that's part. About this all the time, I prefer to open with a little performance with a group to say, my puppet understand what happened to you, my puppet breathing like you, and my puppet know what happened to you. And my puppet is your witness, yes? Why? Witness in the idea of, oh, sorry. I need connect again, I'm sorry. Okay, again, a witness in the idea of Judith Herman, the importance of the witness in a therapeutic process. We need a witness. That happened because you don't have a witness to defend to you, to protect you. And in other way, you need to know somebody believe in your discussion, in your discurso. Why? Primo Levi say, when in the book, the trilogy of Auschwitz, when who was in a camp, the most panic and the nightmare are not come again to the camp. If not, people and her family don't believe what happened. Again here, I take theory in a practical. Sometimes people in a therapeutic process, they need somebody believe what happened. Okay, and I think this is what we speak all the time in a psychotherapy, the space security. Here, the space security is when people know, okay, here, somebody believe what happened to me. Okay, can I open my experience? Can I open my memory? Can I start to explore it with material and up, no, and put out, no, inside, outside, what happened to me because I feel security here, okay? That is a process. The process of night stage with different sub-areas, of course. We start in a collective memory activation. And when I start work with objects, I say all the time to my students, don't start to work with the group with personal objects. Why? Because sometimes that is block creative and block emotional. What I like to say with that, if I open group new and people don't know who is who in a group, for example, sometimes people don't believe in a group, don't know who it's me, and sometimes they don't come in the first session, for example, with very, very personal objects. And that can block her metaphor, okay? It's important work with two levels, some quotidian object, what you found, for example, in your bag, in your house in the morning, and then introduce personal objects. If the group it's very family or they are in a same foundation or same ONG, for example, I think it's possible to start with personal objects because they believe in a group. We are external, they are not an external, yes? There we introduce a presentation of mindful objects. We start to construction a personal memory mapping to understand what is real, what is me, what is of my family, what is real my memory. Identify memory to recreate. And when people identify memory to recreate, for me, is the part when we found a metaphor. And found a metaphor, it's really important in a therapeutic process. I think it's the most important. When people found a metaphor who understand what found, what happened, it's really therapeutic for people, okay? Personal metaphor or collective metaphor. But the first part is personal. Then we start to work with different material, memory. They start to, in other part, the paint is physically set in a puppet. This concept, physically set in a puppet, for me, it's really beautiful because it's when the person can understand what is inside, outside. Can I see? Can I see the object? Can I see? Can I touch? It's here, okay? Then other level is when people collective her individual memory, and now it's what they invite to you to speak about individual to collective memory. It's a travel. That is not only my memory, it's collective. Other memory, it's near my memory. And then we start to animate. This part is really important. We start to breathing with object. It's like mindfulness in movement. I say puppet is a new mindfulness. They start to animate, they are to breathing with object, they give a life, they can movement her memory through the object, they can take distance with an object and understand if that's memory or that's trauma, it's real, my history, or if my family, okay? This is very beautiful how explained in a theoretical part, Marianne Hirsch in the theory of post-memory. Sometimes people can't understand what is a real memory because sometimes they are really, really into her trauma of family or silent her family, and they can't open what is real history, final. And finally, we create a performance about elaborate of traumatic memory. Sometimes that is closed and sometimes it's open. It's the pen of the group. That is model collective in a group, okay? I have other model one by one in person, but what I shared today, I like to put attention only to collective group. Okay, puppet memory and human rights. We can speak about archaeology of collection memory, social apology, and the witness. Who is the witness? The witness in a therapeutic process. Sometimes the witness is a therapist, yes? And sometimes it's a therapist and a group, if it's a group therapy. And we have other witness, new contemporary witness, and for me, it's an object. Object is part of this trilogy of witness, okay? You have more integrated to work. That's very brief. I like to explain. Let me check the hour. Okay. That's project how we create in Chile. Some part of them are independent. We call with my company to people to come to this workshop. And in other level, we work with PRICE, this program to ministry, it's depend the Ministry of Health in Chile, and with program of Ministry of Culture. we work with different groups. In Villa Grimaldi was Center of Culture, today is Center of Peace. We work in prize program in Museum of the Memory. And we can find in a practice, in a group, different theoretical concepts really interesting, like the silence. We can see them in a different testimony, what I shared today. The silence, the object, the pre-cognitive object, but the most, what I found is the silence, when people don't like to speak, to defense, protect the family, okay? Here we can see, for example, here, it's, okay, the slides is like in the first part, the therapeutic process deployed in place a collective memory action, which seek to reparate the social bonds, enhance and integrate intergenerational dialogue, and help organize and transmit a memory that's due to its dramatic, natural, is characterized by silence and fragmentation witness the family. This fragmentation is what you need organized again with an object and with a creation puppet final. They have this is a heteropathic memory. They have created the same memory together. They have, because that is a group when people have sometimes the same experience to work. And also we have experience with group integrate. For example, can people who have survivor of violence, torture in a context of post-dictatorship, and come to go to this group, for example, people who investigate in puppet, anthropologists, social worker, and that's interesting because that is more open. Sometimes we need to work only in a group with the post-victim, and in other integrates. It's the plan of the group, yes? Okay, the testimony. Testimony, puppets, and memory. I have here 3 testimony to share and 1 video. And that's testimony help to understand how to narrate to unspeakable. How to narrate to unspeakable. This is a question all the time we can sound in different group of investigation or art therapists or artistic creative with therapeutic focus, how people can to narrate the unspeakable. In art, we have a lot of examples. Louis Bourgeois, Christian Boltanski. We can find a lot in art, but in the way when art can say therapeutic to the same author and to the community. But in the therapeutic process, you need open all the time this question to renovate the discussion, how to narrate the unspeakable, how people can narrate what that's really unspeakable, and open and found a metaphor to enter in a therapeutic process. Here are 2 images. There are all that images here are authorized to share. They are people of program prize in Chile. Again, prize is program to the pen of Ministry of Health in Chile. For example, here they start with personal objects because they are close group. They know who are who. They knew the external, I am me with my colleague in this community, in this group. Here we start with personal objects. And they start to speak a narrative about who are in this object, who are this person, and they start to find what they like to create, but in a process. And all the time I invite to person to not create. Don't start with the idea, the figure here. The figure isn't a soft. If you found the figure, sometimes we don't found. Don't start with the figure. Don't start with the story here. Start to explore. Because, for example, here is Carolina Gonzalez from Chile in the Museum of the Memoria. She started to present her photograph. It was the last photograph who touched her father before the killing, dictatorship. And she say, when she found this workshop, she say, I like to create my father in a puppet. She are very, very security. And in the process, she start to explore and she say, no, I like to create myself. And this is very large testimony, but she divided this experience in 3 moments. One, when she came to with the hope, with to find her father in a material, but then she understands she likes to create herself, because here is when she found more answer, okay? And she create, you can see this photograph, it's the same dress here. She create that dress for her father. And she explained she have a lot of process therapeutic, but when he finished the performance and she can touch the puppet and she can understand that it's physical, it's here, she feels that it start to close this process, large process to found the image of her father. This is other experience, Javiera Barrientos. Here we can find the concept of idea of Marianne Hirsch about the silence, because she explained in her testimony, in the family, they don't speak nothing about what happened because the father liked to protect them and don't speak about this. And when she was adolescent and she know about what happened, very improvised situation, and she come to this workshop to reflection about the memory of her father. Here we can find the silence, precognitive, no verbal situation, because she can understand somebody happened here, but nobody say to me what happened, but she can understand, she can read that in precognitive, okay? And she create a puppets with a dress and with some idea what she thinking, what her father reflection was in prison. And like summary, to understand puppet therapy, memory and silence can help to elaborate the memory, help to answer how to say the unspeakable, how to narrate the unspeakable, introduce the concept of transgenerational damage with post-memory and silence into the family with Marianne Hirsch, analysis of post-memory, it constitutes the transgenerational transmission from the memory constructed in the personal to collective. It's a travel to personal to collective. I am not alone with this memory. And differentiating real memory from imaginary memory. For example, his memory of my father is not my memory, said the daughter. The presence of absence is part, its idea, its feeling, its texture, its sensation when we can find when we work with this topic. The presence of the absence, how explains very beautiful Christopher Bolas in All What Who Creates. The presence of absence, because in all the objects, they can find absence, okay? The expressive and therapeutic aspect of contemporary animated form. That is the video what I like to share. I think, okay, share in a chat. This is Mrs. Eliana. Mrs. Eliana was part of one of the group in Chile in 2015 in Villa Grimaldi. Villa Grimaldi was center of torture in Chile, and her son was here. And today is a missing person in Chile. And she came to this workshop. And here you can see this image in black and white, how she presents objects, okay? All that objects are of her son. And again, in this workshop, people are connected with the same memory, okay? That's what's interesting to start with personal objects. Of course, when we say to the people come or select personal object, we don't say what object, or we don't say about something missing in your family. It's only personal object. In the general, people come with object with activate memory. This is the process how she created her puppet. It's all the process. And here is how she finished her puppet. Today, I think that is an self-portrait. It's only my idea. Can I see her eyes like her eyes? Okay, her son was a bicycle. And I like to share a video. I think, I am not sure if you can listen, but this video, it's with translates in English, subtitle, okay? I start to share. Mhm. Okay. I hope we can see the subtitle because it's a problem with the sound. I don't know. Okay, that is some of the part of the last time of post-pandemic. We work with the same program price with different women. That was workshop online for women in this program price. That's open different questions. Of course, how do we physically state pain? How do we bear witness to absence? What does materially evoke? How do we reparate the irreparable? This is part of our course. I start to close about the time to have time to some questions or comments. This is part of our program puppet therapy. We have a very deep line investigation in a program with memory, with puppets. And I share my link, YouTube, and then you can see, of course, the video of Mrs. Eliana with voice, my reference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your participation. Okay, can I see here the chat? Yes. You have some question, if you can write me here. The link, yes, Sam, yes, of course. Can I share? I share, of course. And the link YouTube where you can see more about the different approach. Okay, thank you so much for sharing the creative and therapy process. Thank you. Okay, okay. I write here the website. I think here it's okay. Let me know if you can see. 1 second. I write in a chat. Emmanuel, in chat in question, can I write my email to my website? 1 second.
Yes, sure. Can you?
Okay.
You need to watch it to. I don't know if people can see the chat.
I don't know. What is possible to share to all, or if somebody like to write some question? Chat is disabled and needs to use, say. Okay. Maybe can I write here, Emmanuel, if you can share?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. You have question or reflection? Okay. And here it's my email. Okay. Thank you. Presentation. Okay. Thank you. Very interesting. Thank that. It's disabled. Thank. Okay. Yes. Okay.
We see the chat. They say
Ah?
they say they see the chat.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You see the chat? We see the chat. Great. Okay. Super. Great. Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Livia. Thank you again to participate. And I hope that's open reflection to different ideas of puppet therapy, contemporary and memory. And if you like to contact or have some question, please write me, send me a message, okay? Okay.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I will permit
I don't know if I share,
to
okay?
come back. There is someone raising the hand. Do you want to hear the question?
¿Hay preguntas?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay,
Rana.
Anna, wait, you can talk.
Hi, Andrea. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. I want to appreciate your presentation. That was very inspiring to me. And thanks for sharing your experience and your studies. I would like to know during these workshops and these studies, how did it affect you? You know, I mean, this therapy process did affect your personal perception, your way of thinking, you know, I mean, for yourself as a
1 second. Emmanuel, can you help me? I don't listen, okay? I understand, okay? Rana, please, Emmanuel. I don't listen. ¿Me puedes ayudar, Emmanuel?
Again?
Okay.
Sorry.
I want to, no, don't worry. I want to know what was the influence, inner influence of these workshops, these therapy sessions that you had with other people. How was this influence on yourself, on your personal perception, your, you know, how do you deal with your memories now? If you have, like, you know, pain or, you know, what it comes from past. This is one of the questions I want to ask. And the other one is that, how do you find the request for these workshops? I mean, I want to know the organizations or the institutes, do they have, is it do they demand this from you or your institute or your center, or it's you that you are asking to do these workshops for them? I mean, I just want to know if they feel secure, if they want these things in hospitals or in these institutes. Thank you so much.
Okay, Manuel?
Alors,
Sí.
hold on a second.
Son 2 preguntas.
Sí. Te pregunta si ¿cuál
¿Puedo
es la
también,
influencia? ¿Cuál es la influencia?
No, es que quería probar español, pero sí, siga. Gracias.
Okay.
Manuel.
¿Cuál es la influencia de de todos lo que haces, de los talleres y todo eso sobre tu propia percepción y tu propia memoria, tu propia... Voilà, es la primera pregunta y,
Yes,
Y la segunda te pregunta sobre muñecoterapia. ¿Cuál es la parte entre l'offre y la demanda? Entre las personas que preguntan este tipo de formación y su propia... ¿Sabes? Answer the first question and I'm gonna translate better the second
Okay.
one.
Yeah, the first. Rana, I am with you.
Thank you so
Rana,
much.
I think it's a really, really important, interesting question because it's really what happened all the time with the different therapeutic, no? How touched that experience, how he influenced to you. For me, it's really special, Rana, because I start to work in memory about my personal story.
Mhm.
My father was survivor in the Second War, and for me, it's part of my investigation in therapeutic and in art process about a lot of time. Yes, I found this area to investigate. It's not I found because somebody invited to me to project, and that's no. It's what I found a lot of time is a large investigation. It's really deep, but I think it's more deep the story of them than me. You understand? It's impossible when you work like a therapeutic, of course, happen thing to people when work with the community. But of course, we have a space with a team, with other professionals to speak if we have a question, what happened in a group. But that inspired to me a lot to work with other and different groups. I think what happened to me and my impression, it's that inspired to me to work and put voice to this community when they don't have voice. And the second question,
No, I'm just gonna check with Hannah if it's okay. You're asking what is the balance between supply and demand for the digital training, right?
No. It was about the request of these workshops or these therapy process that comes from, for example, hospitals, or for example from the organizations that asking for these process. And I want to know if Andrea asked for this or it's them demands.
Yes. Okay.
a ver.
So, entonces sería a propósito de las estructuras como hospitales o este tipo de instituciones, que cuál es el equilibrio entre la oferta y la demanda. Sabes que se dirige las estructuras en tu dirección o hay peticiones de ellas. ¿Cómo?
Let me, a ver si entiendo la pregunta. Está preguntando cómo se llega a estos programas, cómo es la demanda de estos temas.
Si los hospitales se vienen a ti.
Okay, yes.
O si, sabes,
Yes. Thank you, Emmanuel. Rana, I am with you. It's depend. Sometimes people call and you can to create that interview. But for example, in Chile, it's part of my red, my network to work. We start to work. We work a lot of years with this program and with different projects. I think today that is demand. It's open a lot. It's many people start to pay attention to puppet therapy because have more space when people can, for example, learn, study art therapy. And we are here in the limits. About these people start to ask about puppets because they understand the power of the puppet. But again, it's depends institution. Sometimes we are contact about other. My experience was connect with my network of people. They found that to introducing her practice in hospital. When I work with different professionals in hospital, but the puppet on memory, it was my team. We are in contact with different institutions and we are start to open here this space and come. Ganar un espacio, stay a space here like puppet therapy.
I understand. Thank you so much.
Anna,
And
it's
I
not easy.
understand.
I like to say
Yeah.
something. It's all the people are here. It's not easy because it's very important and serious for me share here. Puppet therapy, it's a methodology today. It's not a discipline. It's not like the other 4 classical discipline in creative art, like art therapy, dance therapy, drama therapy, music therapy, and other. No, we are in an underground of the therapeutic complementary. About this, I share all the time my students and people when asked, it's important to have a basis of therapeutic or art therapy or drama therapy, and you can introduce puppet therapy because this is the idea today, how we can travel to movement, puppet therapy, like methodology to discipline. And about these people sometimes are resistance because maybe you have dialogue with people in institution and you say, okay, I like to introduce puppet therapy, but people say, what is puppet therapy? At today, in different parts of world, people ask, what is puppet therapy? Thank you, Rana, for your question.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Emmanuel, Livija, and then Livia, sorry, I have then other meeting. I start to say goodbye. Thank you to all the participants today for stay here because now I have other presentation. I need time. You can email me if you have question, if you have reflection, or if you can read some paper about puppet and memory more in depth. And I invite to you to continue investigation in this fantastic and deep area. Thank you, Livia. Thank you, Manuel.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. Bye, everyone.
Bye.